moderator has the ability to mute all participants. And if this happens, I'll call on you before you're unmuted. In an attempt to speed things up, we've assigned a mover and a seconder, and I'll read these out. Councillors will utilize the yes and no buttons for voting and the raise hand button if you wish to speak. You'll find these tools in the participant feature at the bottom of your screen. If this fails, I'll call on the clerk to conduct a recorded vote, and each councillor will be called upon alphabetically to verbally state yay or nay on each item. Do we need to do a roll call? We're about to do a roll call.
All right, we'll do the roll call. So we'll start with Councillor Armstrong. Here. Councillor Clarke.
Here.
Councillor
Here.
Councillor Lorentz.
Councillor Lorentz. All right. And Chair Redman.
Here.
Okay, so all are present except for Councillor Lorentz, who I see in the room but is not responding.
All right. Declaration of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. Do we have any declarations? Seeing none, we have no delegations. We're dealing with report PDL CPL 2014 Woodland Removal Permit Application at Taylor Lands, Franklin Boulevard and Main Street in Cambridge. And I believe we have some opening remarks from staff.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So we received this application for a permit to remove this woodland. The applicant was interested in taking out part of the tree cover on the property. There's part that's designated as core environmental feature. The particular part that they were interested in was not designated as part of that core feature. So we reviewed the application. It did fall under the tree bylaw or the woodland conservation bylaw in part. They had requested removal of 2 plantation pieces. One did not meet the definition of woodland under the conservation bylaw, so that's sort of been moved out. And then the other part did meet the definition of woodland. We reviewed that, and as we've shown the recommendations, we're recommending that a permit be granted to remove approximately 2 hectares of plantation. We still need to delineate the exact line of that woodland. We did get a comment back from the GRCA indicating that they would like a 30-meter setback from any wetland pieces on the property, and also from the City of Cambridge that we provide a buffer to the core environmental feature as we would normally do as well. So that's the recommendations there, and I guess if there's any questions, we can deal with those.
We don't have any delegations, but Dave Aston and David Stevenson are both in the meeting room on behalf of the participants, the applicants. So if there are any questions that they can answer, they're both available to do so too. So do we have any questions for any of these people? I did have one, and it's actually not, it's a more general question rather than related specifically to this application. But I was surprised to hear that a plantation would ever be covered under as a sort of woodland, whatever the word is. If a plantation is managed properly, with the trees being removed as scheduled, is a permit still required?
Yeah, so we do issue permits for plantation management. The problem is, or the condition is, that very few plantations are actually managed as plantations anymore. There's no market for the products that come out of them. A lot of them are sort of reverting to hardwood conditions as hardwood seed in. And that's why some of them are included as part of a larger woodland. A lot of the plantations are sort of isolated, which is why they're not covered under core environmental features, but they're still considered to be woodlands. And so we go through the permit process with them.
Okay, that's interesting. One question, does the requirement that the exact limits of the trees be removed, be demarcated, does that refer to actually physically having the trees visited and marked in some way? What's the demarcation involved?
Yeah, so we will go out to the woodland. We will actually sort of mark the limits, and they will be marked with stakes and probably surveyed in as well, so that when they do go to do the removals, there is a line there that's marked.
I see. So it's a physical demarcation. Thank you.
Yes.
Councillor Lorentz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess the only question I have is the last time we had an issue like this was out along Trustler Road in Kitchener, right on the Wilmot line, and we had all kinds of problems with the owner because he wasn't satisfied and just sticking to what was approved, but he wanted to kind of clear cut his whole property. And so when I see these things, I get a little nervous, and I'm just wondering how you're can assure us that whatever has been marked is going to be taken and nothing more.
When we mark them, we do keep an eye on when the removals start. So that is one of the requirements that they let us know when they start with the removals. The one on Ottawa Street that you refer to, the owner, he did kind of take matters into his own hands, and he kind of jumped the gun. But we did notice the cutting going on, and we did stop. They made a mistake when they went in with the harvesting. We did stop that on time. Now, just the nature of the owner, we ran into all sorts of issues as we dealt with that. But generally, when we do these, the owners and the applicants are cooperative, as well as the people doing the harvesting. I don't see an issue with this particular one.
And are we out there pretty well every day monitoring over it?
I drive by regularly to keep an eye on it, and again, the one on Ottawa Street was pretty extensive, was pretty large. The one in Cambridge is somewhat smaller, but yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I see no other questions. Oh, sorry, I do. Hiding as always. Chair Redman.
I'll be taller next time, I promise. You've partially answered my questions, but it's just we've included in our recommendation the wishes of the City of Cambridge and the GRCA. Do they sign off at any point, or is the assumption made that if we do this recommendation and we monitor it, that that will satisfy their requirements?
When we mark it, we will do it in cooperation with the City of Cambridge. We do these fairly regularly with woodland demarcations, and the GRCA will let them know as well, and they will confirm that they're okay with where the line is.
Thank you.
All right, then. I'm going to read out the recommendation. It's been moved by Councillor Armstrong and seconded by Councillor Erb, that a woodland removal permit be issued to Curtaff Holdings Incorporated and Footbridge Holdings Incorporated for the removal of approximately 2.3 hectares of conifer plantation located at the corner of Main Street and Franklin Boulevard in Cambridge, with the following conditions: that the tree removals be permitted to plantation area A and exclude any trees that are within 15 meters of the drip line of the core environmental feature, and that the exact limits of the trees to be removed be demarcated to the satisfaction of regional staff in consultation with the City of Cambridge and the GRCA prior to the commencement of tree cutting. And that Curtaff Holdings Incorporated and Footbridge Holdings Incorporated be advised that Plantation Area 2 did not meet the definition of woodland in Region's Woodland Conservation Bylaw. A regional permit is therefore not required for vegetation removals in this area, but local bylaws may apply. The applicant is advised to check with the City of Cambridge staff prior to undertaking removals in this area. Please use the yes or no buttons to vote. All right, and that is carried unanimously. Is there any other business? Seeing none, we'll now call to adjourn the meeting, moved by Councillor Lorentz and seconded by Councillor Armstrong. Please use the yes or no buttons to vote. And again, carried unanimously. Thank you very much, everyone. And thanks again to the participants for their patience.
Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the sunshine.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.